Hi, and welcome to my classic licks lesson for the month of May. In this series of short lessons, we're going to take a look at some of the guitar playing that you hear on songs by Slim Harpo. Slim Harpo was a harmonica player in the 50s, 60s, died I think in 1970, and he recorded some of the most, maybe the most pop blues songs of the 60s especially. And many of his tunes featured a very simple but really cool guitar part or parts. And so what I'm going to do in these lessons is really focus on the rhythm playing that you hear. And if you're just getting started into electric blues guitar, Slim Harpo is a great place to go. There's so many simple ideas, but that sound great. We're going to start out with what I think of when I think of Slim Harpo guitar stuff, and that is the single string runs that you hear on tunes like Scratch My Back, Tip On In, Keep What I've Got. And these are rhythms that are played on single treble strings while rhythm guitar is playing and while Slim is singing and all that. And usually it's a simple pattern that's repeated over and over again throughout the song with a few variations thrown in. So I'm going to show you some examples of that with three different tunes. First one, Scratch My Back, and this is probably Slim's one of his most famous tunes. And I'm going to play it out of the first F position. I'm not going to put a capo on. He used a capo. I think his guitar players used capos a lot. And I'll show you examples of that. And I've even seen pictures of him, with a capo on his guitar when he played the rhythm. But for now, let's just learn it out of the straight first position F. Let me play the rhythm for you one time around, and then we'll break it down. It's really pretty straightforward. So right there is the basic Scratch My Back rhythm, and you hear that throughout the entire song. He plays this like non-stop. And I have no idea who's playing guitar on these records. I've looked the names up before, but I cannot remember. He had a lot of different people playing guitar on his records. But anyway, here we go, in the key of F. If you make a first position F up here with your first finger on the first and second strings at the first fret, second finger, no, you don't have to do this. You should know this chord anyway. That's what the lick is based on, and we're starting with the root, the third fret of the fourth string, which is an F, and we're just playing that. And then he's playing, he's going to hammer on from the first fret of the third string to the second string, and then to the open, or to the first fret of the first string, then to the fourth fret of the second string, then back to that bass note, the fourth fret, third fret of the fourth string. He varies the rhythm. If you listen to the song carefully, he plays it at a little different speed. There's two, he plays it twice on over each chord. It's like this. Kind of hesitates that second time through. The first time he plays it faster. That difference. That's really important for getting the song down. And then when he shifts to the 4, which in F is a B flat, he just plays the exact same thing. And this time your bass or your root note is on the 8th fret of the 4th string. Then comes back up to the 1. Then to the 5, which is a C. Plays that throughout the song. Now, one thing that I'm missing here is the tremolo, the vibrato. I don't have a tremolo pedal right now or a feature on my amplifier, so I'm just playing it straight up so you can hear what he's playing. One of the real neat things of Slim Harpo's records is the tremolo on the guitars, the vibrato. That's really cool, the effects pedal or the amplifier that he's using. So that is from Scratch My Back. Now there's another rhythm guitar playing on Scratch My Back too, playing chords, kind of a funkier sound, and we'll get to that. This one later includes chords. It's called Tip On In. And Tip On In is another one of Slim Harpo's greatest songs. It's in the key of E. And I'm going to play the rhythm through one time. And again, he repeats this basic rhythm throughout the entire song. And it's really kind of cool. So it goes like this. And then just around and around and around again. He does that over and over again. Now, I don't know for sure how he played this. When I listen to the record, I hear an E7th chord being played with the C7th shape. So if you take a C7 with your first finger up here at the first fret and slide it up 1, 2, 3, 4, that's an E7. Now you can also play an E7th here, first position. When I first played this song, I always tried to play it down here and do something like this. And maybe that's how you can play it, but when I hear the record, I hear a little thicker notes being played like this, as opposed to, you can hear the difference between them. And to get the chord in there, what I'm doing is using my first two fingers. My first finger is going to start on the 4th fret of the 2nd string, and my second finger is going to go on the 5th fret of the 4th string. And I'm going to pick the 4th string and slide up 1, and then pick the 2nd string, which is now at the 5th fret. So I slide like this. And then what I'm doing for the chord is just putting my ring finger on the 7th fret of the 5th string and my pinky on the 7th fret of the 3rd string to make an E7. So I'm sliding, and then getting the bass note, then I'm playing the chord, so it's like this. And that chord progression is down, down, up. So like this. And that's the basic chord pattern over the 1. He just plays that over and over again. Then when he goes to the 4, he's doing the same basic lick with the first 2 fingers, but he's just moving everything over a string. So his first finger starts on the 4th fret of the 1st string, and the second finger, this time on the 3rd string at the 5th fret, and then he slides up again, picks the 3rd string, and then slides so the first finger ends up on the 5th fret of the 1st string. And this time, to make the chord, he's going to make an A7th. I'm sliding, and then putting my ring finger down on the 7th fret of the 4th string, which is an A, and then I'm putting my pinky on the 8th fret of the 2nd string, which makes a 7th. So the whole pattern. And back to the 1. Then to the 5. What I'm doing here is just the same thing I did over the A or the 4. I'm doing it over the 5, the B. So my first finger is going to wind up on the 7th fret of the 1st string, and my second finger on the 8th fret of the 3rd string. And my bass note is the 9th fret of the 4th string. And walks it up to the 4. And he does a little stutter with the chord. And then he's doing this double stop, starting on the 9th fret of the 4th string, and then the double stop, the 2nd and 3rd strings at the 7th fret. And he's going to bounce back and forth between that double stop and the 9th fret of the 4th string, so like this. And that's going on right as he's doing the turnaround. So the whole 5-4-1 with the turnaround goes like this. When he comes back right away into the 1. Whoop. That's a little tricky, but that's what he's doing. So as you listen to Tip On In, again, it's got the tremolo going, the vibrato tremolo effect pedal going, and you've got the being played with tremolo on it. Gives it a real cool feel to the songs. So that's Tip On In. Third and final example that I'm going to show you here. And when I started out this particular lesson, I think I called these single string patterns. That's not really a good way to describe them, because each one of them is different. More like a melodic pattern, repetitive melodic pattern that he plays over and over again over the chord changes. And each one of these, the part you play is on top of the chord, follows the chord. So in another tune, it's called Keep What I've Got, he plays something a little different. And this is in F sharp. I'm going to move it to G to make it a little easier for you to follow. Let me go ahead and play this one time through. Make sure you listen to the original by Slim Harpo so you can hear what I'm playing here. Forgot to keep the time on that stop, but he goes back into this. And then over and over again. It's very similar to what we played in Scratch My Back. We're playing in G, and we're starting out with that same lick, going from the 3rd to the 4th fret on the 3rd string, and then winding up on the 3rd fret of the 1st string. Then we're going to the 6th fret on the 2nd string to the 3rd fret, so it's like this. 5th fret of the 3rd string, and then we're going to hammer on. I've got my first finger already on the 3rd fret of the 3rd string. I'm going to kind of place it there at the same time. I hammer down with my second finger on the 4th fret of the 3rd string. So like this. Whoops. And then to the root, which is the 5th fret of the 4th string, the G. So he starts out. It sounds like he stops when he gets ready to switch chords. You have to listen to that again. I can't remember exactly. I'll have it on the tab so you can hear exactly what he's doing. And he just takes that down and starts with the root note on the 4 chord, which is the C. Back to the root in the G, the 1. And then 12th fret of the 4th string, which is a D. And then this time, right when he gets there, he goes to the 4. He goes back, goes from the 5 to the 4, to the 5 to the 4, to the 5 to the 4, to the 1. So like this. And there's the stop. And then when he gets to the stop, he stops on that. He's playing a D7, so you got a C7 shape, chord, just move it up to, so your ring finger is on the 5th fret of the 5th string, which is your D. He plays a little choppy chord pattern there. So let's try that all the way through one time. Now that, again, has the tremolo going, so it doesn't sound as flat and uninteresting as it is now, but I'm playing it without any effects just so you can see for sure what's going on. So like this. One thing I didn't show you is when he gets to the seventh, which is in G, right there, the sixth fret of the second string, he holds that a little bit and bends it just slightly. Just a little bit, not too much, or else you'll lose the timing. Now when he gets to one of the harp solos, it sounds like there's a little variation on this, and it's really hard for me to hear when I listen to it. I can't hear it clearly. Maybe listen to it, you can. He does something like this. Something like that. I can't really tell for sure. And I think he's playing, and he's, when he gets here, he's kind of hammering on, pulling off on the fifth fret of the third string, and then winding up on the fifth fret of the fourth string, which he's hitting twice, real quick. Again, I can't hear this for sure, but it sounds like there's a variation during one of the harp solos. Back to the one. So there are three examples. If you listen to Slim Harpo's playing, there's those three tunes. There's another one called Rock Me Baby, which I'll show you a little bit later, where he does kind of the same idea, but just over one of the chords, having that same pattern being played over and over and over again on the single strings. And then behind it, he's got a rhythm guitar playing the rhythm chords, whatever the song is. And then over the top of that, so you got the layers of guitars, much like the Jimmy Reed recordings. And the more I listen to it, the Slim Harpo tunes are equally as interesting as the Jimmy Reed stuff. You got two guitar players, and they're both working together, complementing each other, really laying down a solid rhythm behind the singing and the harp playing of Slim Harpo. So that's the first lesson. When we come back, we'll take a look at some of the bass rhythms, some of the shuffle rhythms. Slim Harpo used some real basic stuff, and he also did some kind of unusual things when it came to bass rhythms. And we'll cover those next. Any questions, comments, let me know. Hope this lesson helps you get started with the Slim Harpo stuff, and I'll be back soon with part 2.